Good evening, good evening. Welcome along. It is another Inspire and Be Inspired, weekly motivational conversations and occasional life hacks. My name is Andy Ward, and it's my pleasure to have you with us live this evening. Please do leave a message, let us know who's there. You will see some new graphics on the screen now. Your comments are automatically coming up onto the screen, and I will do my very best as the conversation continues to draw reference to anything you have to say and share your words with my guests. Good evening to Jason Thornton. He has shared the stream. Thank you very much for that. And anyone else that is there. And as always, we say a big shout out to all of the crew coming back for the recording. So it's been 12 months since I began Inspire and Be Inspired. Throughout the course of this evening's show, I will be talking a little bit about my own journey, but I would rather focus on these two gentlemen who I have said continuously over the last 12 months have been nothing but inspiring, nothing but motivational, and they continue to be the legends that they are in the house scene and beyond. So I will press my button and invite Mr. Lenny Fontana and Mark Wilkinson live onto the stream. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Hello, mate. I'm great, thank you. How are
You're
you?
well. No, you know what? Technical issues. I can't hear you, which is brilliant. That's not. It's not you. It's me.
You
It's not
can't.
you,
You can't.
Mark. It's me. Should we try it again? I've got.
Hello.
I've got you. I've got
Hello.
you.
Yes, I'm brilliant. Thank you, Andy. How are you, mate?
I'm great. Technical. Last time we spoke, we had technical issues, but I'm more on the ball now. I'm more on the
Yeah.
ball.
You're 12 months of experience in, Andy, aren't you?
Yeah, still a long way to go. So you guys both know I will do my very best to make this as interactive as possible this evening with my guests. Steve Reed says pre-trim growth, drawing reference to how unkept I am. I'm the kind of person that has to draw reference to it. So, forgive my appearance, everybody. I've got a big weekend lined up, so I'm going to be looking amazing in a couple of days. Right now, not so much so. Good evening,
So,
Sarah Talents. Good evening, Paul Foster. So, I did start by welcoming my guests, Mr. Mark Wilkinson. Good evening, and Mr. Lenny Fontana. Good afternoon.
Yes, and good evening. How is everyone been
We're
keeping?
all we're all
all
really
good.
good. Um, I again feel quite privileged to be in your presence. Two gentlemen who could quite easily sit and control this conversation tonight. No strangers to being in front of the camera, and I would like to shed light on your journeys, shed light on your highs and lows, and let people know uh, why it's so special being in front of our beloved friends and fans on a regular basis. I think between the three of us, we should be able to cover that tonight. I don't believe we need any introductions to both of you. Um, so, seeing as Lenny on my screen is at the top, I'll come to Lenny first, and I'll say, True House Stories. Now, you did say recently how many episodes you were up to. If I were a professional, I would have researched and I could have recited exactly how many episodes there have been and how long you've been on air. But I always like to let my guests share the information from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Well, Andy, let me ask you something. What constitutes being a professional?
Uh, Someone who doesn't stumble, stutter, and get the technical issues wrong.
That's a total wrong answer.
Okay,
The minute you get €1, £1, or $1, you are now a professional.
right.
And you
Okay,
could be really bad, a bad professional.
okay. So
So let me,
so
so
I
I want to
believe
know
you're
if,
saying the word professional isn't something I should use.
no, because that has nothing to do with how good you are. You are good because you put your heart in it and your soul in it. And I have to tell to all the people out there that try to do this stuff each and every week with no intrinsic ideas in their mind of making any kind of money. I give them a lot of credit because first of all, to get in front of a camera and be able to speak eloquently is not something that's easy, as we've spoken off of camera, you and I. This has been a journey of journeys, people. I'm not gonna lie. I never dreamed of turning a light on and having a camera, no less having a show. And now on the professional level, we're 78 episodes in. We started in July of the God's year of 2020, COVID year.
Ground zero.
Ground zero, right? And to be honest and fair, to me beginning this show, I did some teaching stuff with musical keyboard stuff, MIDI and all that sampling. And I'll tell you, first times we got this camera going and people coming in, I was a little bit worried, if I can really pull this thing off. Being able to hang out and have a couple of drinks around a bar and laugh with your friends is quite easy. When you're alone and people are watching and you have to express where you are in your life and what's going on and kind of open up and share your life with people, because that's what you wind up doing when you do these different types of talk shows. You use part of your own wisdom. You try to do anecdotes. I mean, at the time when we started, I remember you telling me, Andy, you hated the fact that I was starting to ask every time, how's everyone doing with COVID? Because it was continuously reminding everyone that COVID was around. And I think
you put that a bit harsh. I wasn't that harsh with my words.
Harsh. You're always harsh with me, but that's okay, because that's how you roll. And I expect that. And I said to you, is it really that bad? You said, no, it's just that, who the hell wants to hear that anymore? We want to put it behind us. And I understood where you were coming from. So I took that under consideration, because not many people are going to be forthright and honest with you. And that's when those are truly your friends. Those are not fans. Those are real friendships. When they call out and they tell you, hey, you know what? If you tried this or do that, and let me tell you, every piece of advice that came along this journey, okay, has made it better. I'm one that wants to cultivate and make things better, as opposed to, if you look at my first shows with Marshall Jefferson, great show, but my camera looks like, it looks like we're in the middle of the desert, even though I'm in my studio. I mean, the technology, I was working off of Wi-Fi. Everything was totally wrong with why I was doing whatever. But I didn't know. I just was like, hey, you know what? Like a kid with his turntable. He's first starting out. He does his first mix. I'm a DJ. Yeah, right. You're not a DJ till you really learn to be a DJ. It's just that's part of the naive part of it, and and I also explain it like this: you're a one man on your own island. At that time, because we were isolated, this was the best. We pre to that we were dealing with Skype, FaceTime, stuff like that. Okay, but to go and start doing, hey, do you know how to broadcast? Hey, do you know? And Zoom became overnight. Boom! Everybody's Zooming now. Like Aretha Franklin said, who's zooming, who? And that's truthfully what it really was. And it was just, holy smoke, can I get this person? Let's try that person. And it just snowballed slowly. And then I started to hear from different higher ups in the game. It was like, wow, we're impacting now like an asteroid. We're hitting some serious people now, because people are learning about the trials, the tribulations of people's lives. It's not always champagne and caviar dreams. There's a lot of things that a lot of us suffer through.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that will give me a perfect opportunity to say to Mark, no stranger to bearing his soul. I mean, the book Life Remixed, it documents very clearly your own journey from bankruptcy and disease to where you are now, 2 weeks ago, standing on stage, conquering your fears and living the dream, so to speak. So tell us about your journey and where you feel you'd like to recount what's what you believe to be important along the way.
Well, thank you, mate. First of all, I want to say 12 months anniversary for Andy Ward doing Inspire and Be Inspired. Yeah, let's give a little round of applause to that man there as well, right?
Thank
I mean,
you.
The fact that obviously, Lenny has done, these True House stories and really, touched the house and the dance scene and even beyond that in a great way throughout this, survival period of COVID, which we've all been challenged with. I think it's fantastic. The fact that, Lenny and I can both, thank you for you saying you've inspired us. We've inspired you, for instance. Well, you've inspired us as well, Andy, right? So well done for that. The other thing I must say to Lenny there as well is that I was coaching people, business coaching people worldwide on Zoom for 12 months before COVID. Why didn't I buy shares in Zoom, right? Anyway, don't worry about that. So, because it kind of exploded during COVID, didn't it? But what I really want to say is obviously, about, I had a book coming out, obviously, as you can see all around me, Life Remixed. And I remember speaking to my publisher, because I had the book coming out. Obviously, COVID just came along and did what it did to the world. I had the book planned. It was ready to go. As it was, we put it out in the middle of COVID about a year ago, just over a year ago now. And they said to me, well, you need to show up. You need to be on screen. You need to, interact. And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, you've got to start doing lives and stuff. And I was like, oh no, do I? And I remember being a Ministry of Sound resident many, many moons ago, like 25 years ago, whatever. And I all I wanted to do was just play records. I just want to play the records. You lot all dance. It's all good. We have a party. It's all great. And then the ministry management team came to me and said, right, so now you've got to be in this photo shoot. And now you've got to be in this film. And now you've got to do this. And now you've got to do that. And I'm like, I don't want any of that. That's not me. I don't want to do that. I just want to play some records and everybody dance. So it was always something that I'd had a bit of a fear about. I wrote about it in my book. It's actually, a fear of rejection in many ways, and but ultimately, the publisher drove me and said, come on, do it. I tried it. I went once live in their little tiny group of 90 people of other authors. I did it for 30 minutes and I was totally inspired. And I was like, I want to do it again. And I came downstairs and I went live on my page and then I built up this studio and I did it. And I was just, once I'd overcome the fear of doing it, there was nothing stopping me. And in many ways, that's exactly what happened 2 weeks ago. Because we put on our first Life Remix live event, as you well saw, Andy. And we had 135 people in the room, people all, celebrating, learning, growing, understanding some of the things that I wanted to share. And we got another one on May the 7th. And, long may it continue. And I'd love both of you to come out of, Andy come out of retirement maybe, putting him on the spot. But I'd love you guys, Lenny, when you're here in the UK again, I'd love you to come and play some records. I've got CJ McIntosh at the next one, Danny Rampling we had, and Bobby from Bobby and Steve at the last one. It's just really, really positive. And in amongst all of that, I've been doing my own straight talking interviews off the back of the book, where I've had people like Fatboy Slim, Norman J, Bobby, obviously from Bobby and Steve. I've had Chris Lemons, the star of the Netflix show Last Breath, Danny Lewis Sr., and I do these Monday motivations every Monday. And then Life Remixed Inspirations with my coaching clients, of which there are well over 50 now around the world. So, look, we've all, I want to congratulate both of you and obviously give myself a little pat on the back as well, because we've all navigated COVID in our own way, but we haven't been silent. We've reached out. I remember reaching out to you, Andy, a year and a bit ago, saying, "Come on, let's get onto a Soulful House Mafia get together." It was you, me, Craig Bartlett, and Lee Wright, wasn't it? And that was a great evening. That was a great evening. So these are great. I love what you're doing, Andy. Lenny, hats off, mate. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you very much. Well, my inspiration coming from both of you guys, Mark, very much. I mean, really, again, I always say I should have made some notes. I should have prepared properly, but that isn't me. The only reason I sit here is because Lenny commented on it earlier. My main aim is to sit and have a chat with my friends. I feel the more shambolic it appears, the more real it is. Yeah, maybe
it's
someone
from the
said
heart, it. Andy, it's from the heart, mate. It's from the heart. Just let it flow. Let it go.
There you go. Because I've said it to both of you guys before. Being on air for so long, I feel I've said and done I've done it the right way for so long. Now I'm doing it my way, and I enjoy that. And I reach out to the people who come back on a regular basis who also enjoy it, and there's no greater feeling. So let's go back to the early days, Lenny, if I can address yourself. What was
What
the
early
initial
days?
what was the initial goal of when you spoke to Marshall? What were you hoping to achieve?
Marshall, would you come on? I just want to talk. I want to let people know, a little more about our lives, your life. That I'm not a 17-year-old reporter with a pencil in his ear. I said, you know me. We've hung, we've played together. We got the same family of people. This is exactly the conversation I had. He said, yo, man, I'll do it. Just like that. It was fun. Just like that. He said, what I gotta do? I said, well, you just gotta turn on the camera. I'm gonna send you a Zoom link. Oh man, I've used Zoom. I've used Zoom before. I said, okay. So what are we gonna talk about? I said, I'm gonna ask you one question. And I asked the same as everybody. And everybody that knows that watches my show will hear me say the same thing. How does music find you, Andy, as a young kid, a young Andy? Because no one's going to tell a story better. And I said, Marshall, when you tell that story, he's like, well, he said, how deep you want to go? I said, yo, man, I want to go to the projects deep, into the, like, as you would call it, council housing, at the post office. How'd you hook up with Curtis? Tell me the story, what happened to you. All you guys were working in the post office, and he's like, all right. He's like, and I watched as we tuned in the first day, the numbers were raking in. I'm like, wow, look at this. Everybody wants to know about. And then I'm watching the chat box going, and I'm looking at the chat box, and I'm telling my anecdotes. Marshall's telling his story. And I said, okay, all right. And then I spoke to some other Chicago people. It was like one after another. And it was, I was like, wow, this is really good. I said, hey, if I have to hang up my headphone to do this is not a bad gig. I like this. I like being in front of the camera. This is not bad. I like, guys, it's not the first time I've done documentary work. I was blessed to do the BBC thing with the Paradise Garage and Larry Levan. That was tremendous. The amount of, it's a benchmark for many people. They listen to those things all the time, and they use it as a reference point for our music history. So I was just happy to be able to bring entertainment at a dark period in time, because it was hard there was a lot, and I used to say this, a lot of people that were isolated, alone, and they needed to hear these stories and laugh a little bit or reminisce, because let's face it, who doesn't want to hear people that they grew up to or danced to or bought their records? And it's like, if you love this dance music thing, okay, and you say you're a house head, hey, what's better than to have the Godfather house start this off? I couldn't think of a better way to begin this show. And I'll never forget Karen asking me this one question. She said, what are you going to call it? God bless Karen. Love her wherever she is right now. She's having some physical health issues. We wish her the best at this point right now. So anyway, at the time she said to me, Lenny, what are you going to call it? And I'll never forget, I said, True House Stories. Just like that. It was instant. I had the name already. And it wasn't, well, you say, yo, man, it's my house music. I said, no, it's in the house. It's the truth we're hearing. And it's a story. Because everyone says, well, this is going to pigeonhole it just to dance music. I said, no, I can have on a chef in his home cooking and interviewing a true house story. But of course, it makes it more comfortable because it's dance music. We all love house music, of course. Okay. To have it fitting that we had all these great dance icons. Come on. And I've been blessed to have some fabulous, iconic people come on.
Oh, without
Some that
doubt.
never said none of the stuff they've said. Never shared that stuff they said. Wow, I would be sitting there gobsmacked hearing these. It's like, I try not to make my face show the moments of being slapped like with a hammer, like with Thor's hammer. That's what it feels like. Holy shit, he's never said this before.
Well,
Anyway,
I have to say, your face. What's the word I'm looking for? Your
what gives it
face.
away?
Your face. Yeah, when you cheat on someone, what's the word? Your face
Oh,
betrayed you. Your face
oh yeah.
betrayed you last week talking to Nicky Ciano when he told some of
Oh,
his story. Your face
oh, with
betrayed
the
you.
Boy Scouts of America. I'm not going to go into the story. So everybody watched the story, but when he mentioned the Boy Scouts of America and what had happened, I took a deep breath because it was
It's
like,
crazy.
holy smoke, we're going there. This
Hmm.
show is like communion and at the same time penance. It's like, so it's this show has become, I swear, you know, they show the Godfather, the guy comes in the mafia, he puts the box, the priest, he talks to the priest, his father, you know, I've done some bad things. And this is what it's like, except there's no box, there's no curtain. You see the people we're talking to, and they're just going.
Hmm.
Here's one for everyone that I always use as a benchmark, as one of the best moments of a surprise. David Morales, everybody knows who he is. He's iconic, Def Mix, Frankie Knuckles, you know, and him did so much for dance music. I mean, it's endless to the things that he has achieved. Grammy winner, all that great stuff. And we're in the middle of his interview, and I ask him the question, which later I'll find out. I shouldn't have asked, but I asked because wasn't told not to ask. But we're friends for over 35 years, so let me ask. And the question came very simply after he was telling us this wonderful moment about how he was doing this. And I said to him, hey, listen, David, you know, the next day on a Sunday morning, I open up my laptop and I'm going through emails and I see something come from the Sun paper and it said, superstar, legendary, iconic DJ David Morales is arrested. I watched his face go. Everybody, and it was like I should have had the music go. You know, the strings come in, like you would have had that moment, the strings coming in, the whole thing, and he just paused, and I saw him get cocked up and erect, like, and I just sat there and I went. I says I have to ask because many of us saw this and it was a shock, and we knew we were like blown away. And he says, "Well, I'm not going to talk about that." Then he pauses again, and then he explains what went on. But he said he wasn't going to talk about it. So I was ready to change the gears and go into another. But he said to me, because you're not an 18-year-old reporter who doesn't know who I am, I have to answer it now. Or something he said like that. It wasn't in those words, but I just found that later I spoke to another producer and they were telling me, he said, right before your interview, he was talking about, I hope nobody asks me. And I don't think he was mentioning me basically, but he was telling this person. They came and said to me later, oh, he was not hoping to be asked about what happened in Japan. And next thing you know, you ask him. And everyone was like, oh, we're all gasping for air, waiting to see, what's he going to say? Wow. What's he going to do? And he answered it, but let me tell you, that's journalism.
Well, let me ask Mark then, because he will be perfectly positioned to give us an insight as to what it is about getting people to open up when you talk to them one-on-one, because you will understand a lot about the psychology of that, Mark, and why it feels can be so, whatever the word is I'm trying to pull out the back of my brain.
I think it's about, obviously, you've got to work on yourself first, right? So you've got to be comfortable yourself. So we've all said, actually, that we've been through a little bit of a sort of journey of ourselves to sort of put ourselves out there and go for it. And I think, you know, being comfortable with yourself then, you know, allows you to then make your guest feel comfortable, you know, make the technology easier for them to use, and then get them talking. An interesting one, actually, I was talking to Norman Cook, obviously. Fatboy Slim was probably one of my biggest interviews, or definitely my biggest interview in the music anyway. And he said to me, before we started, he said, now listen, he said, this is going to be great, but just to be clear, this is going to be online forever, right? It's not, it's not going to be on your YouTube channel. It's going to be there forever. So I've really got to be careful I don't say anything that could end up a Sun headline the next day. I was like, okay, there's a few questions I want to ask you. But I thought that was really cool of him. Norman's a great lad and a great guy. And, I was conscious of that. I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest. Before he said it to me, 2 minutes before we went live, hadn't even thought about it. I was thought, just ask him stuff, and I wasn't going to ask him anything too controversial anyway. But certainly there were certain things that probably, that I didn't ask him deliberately because I was conscious, like, that could end up in the Sun headline. That's not what we're here to do. Norman came on, to be fair to him, because I'd sent him my book and he loved it, and he was like, I want to support what you're doing, Mark. So that was amazing. But I would say the whole thing about what Lenny's doing and what you're doing as well, Andy, it's about connection. It's about connecting with other people. We've been through this period of time where we couldn't connect. We literally had to stay in our own houses, and we weren't allowed to go and hug our granny. It was a very, very strange moment. None of us have ever experienced anything like that. And I hope we never experience anything like that again. You have to go back 100 years before there was like, after the First World War, when there was like, a plague and stuff like that went around, or the Spanish flu. So, we've never experienced anything like that. So we were lucky, many ways. We were lucky. We've got to be grateful for Zoom or for any of these online things or WhatsApp or anything that we could connect. And it made it not feel quite as bad. Because if you imagine that happening in the 70s when we were growing up, or the 80s when we were growing up, and you had a ZX Spectrum or something, and you're sitting there, just like, what am I going to do, right? So we were fortunate that there was so much stuff that we could stay in our homes and actually do it. But the stories that Lenny's brought out of people, the stuff that you do as well, Andy, and the stuff that I've been doing as well. I mean, it's connecting, it's bringing people. I loved Lenny's Farley and Hella interview. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic. Just seeing Terry and Pete just like bounce off each other and really, with the Cockney humour. I thought you handled that well, Lenny. To be fair, and I think that.
Thank you, Mark.
You did great. You did really good. I loved it. I watched it and I enjoyed it.
I love Terry's voice. Sounds like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, proper Chelsea is Terry. But yeah, the other thing I would say as well is I would encourage any one of those people that Lenny's been interviewing, or the people that you interview, Andy, also, write a book. Do you know what I mean? Write it down, get the message out there, because like Lenny's saying, people sharing stuff that they've never shared before. But this is important stuff. These life stories are so important. I'm actually helping Bobby now, from Bobby and Steve. I'm helping and coaching Bobby to write his book. Because we want to help, obviously, with the situation with Steve. We want to be able to help him, raise money, write a book, do more for Steve. So I'm now coaching Bobby on writing his book. He won't mind me saying, because we're just early days on that one. But that book's going to be something. The whole Bobby and Steve story is going to be something incredible. But these people, these icons, Marshall Jefferson, and although we've seen the documentaries and we've understood, I always remember 10 City, being intensity. That's where that came from, and they were talking about the music they were making. But this, the younger people, even me, us, we want to read this stuff. We want to get that message out there more and more, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel, because both of you are very grounded, very humble guys, and yet you have achieved greatness within the music industry, so you have really strong connections with a lot of people. I mean, to turn around to somebody, an everyday man on the street, and say that you're going to sit and have an interview with Fatboy Slim, they would be taken aback. Not everyone is in a position to be able to do that. Lenny, to be able to pull in a name out of thin air. Lee John from Imagination, a worldwide superstar for decades. You have this opportunity to talk to these people. And also because you have the experience yourself and you have achieved a lot, these people do feel, coming back to Mark's comment, they feel at ease. They feel that you understand them. They know that you will have gone through the ups and downs that they would have gone through. So that has to help.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. 100% that people feel at ease. They feel at home. They can talk to someone like me. They can talk to someone like Lenny. They can talk to you, Andy. It's important because we do have shared experience, don't we? I mean, I always love Jesus Loves Andy Ward video. We've all experienced that as a DJ. I always mention it every time we're live, don't we? But have you seen that, Lenny? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, it's the best. It's absolutely the best.
Jesus Loves Andy Ward?
Jesus Loves Andy Ward. Andy, tell a 2-minute story. Go on, tell it.
Okay, so I went to do a gig in Portugal. 1,500 people in a town churchyard, the town courtyard. 1,500 people listening to a local band perform. The script was the band will finish, they'll turn around, face the DJ stage, I'll start playing my music. So that's what happened. And I started to record it, put the music on. The whole of the crowd, the whole of the town had just stood there looking at me with their arms folded as if to say, well, what's going on? And then an hour later, there were about 4 people in the church square, from 1,500 people down to 0.
It's the best video
and I just documented it.
Wait. Roll the tape back. What was the band playing before you got on?
Some local Portuguese folk song. It was a completely incorrect booking. I should never have been booked to play there.
That's why I'm trying to work this out. Okay, so we went from... So is it like this? Moses, please help us, Moses. Did you go up to the front of the water and go like this? I part the water?
You did.
You have to watch the video. I'll put it on YouTube. I was quite happy to ridicule myself with
Lenny. Seriously, Lenny, it's the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Anyway, let me change the subject. I have no problem talking about it, but I want to welcome.
Hang on, I need to ask the question before we change the subject.
Go on.
So you had your arms like this through the whole gig?
No, not me. The crowd. I was doing my best to play music, and I realised they whatever I played, they weren't going to move to. And by the end of the gig, everyone, imagine 1,500 people, and it was like it was like a leaking bathtub. One person leaving, one person.
The thing about this stuff is we've all got these DJ stories, and there's some of them are like uplifting and incredible, playing Ministry of Sound and Pasha and doing all this great stuff. And then we've all got that like really like terrible story where we've like cleared the place or something like that. But that's the part of the fun. It's part of the joy, isn't it? It's part of the experience. It's not all glamour. There's lots of things that we do, and that's what we're all drawing out when we interview people online, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to come back and talk about the glamour, the highs and lows. I want to draw reference to the people who are with us. Mark, we have a lot of your friends with us this evening, so I got to say thank you to Russ, to Sarah Talents, also Black Wax is here, Gav Randall's commenting, as is Jason Thornton, Lucas Randall, Mr. Chris Harris, good afternoon from New York, Pogwash is here, Fever Soul, Jeff Jefferson, John Rogers. Again, I like to try and be as interactive as I can, to let the people know I appreciate having their eyes. Lenny, you have a lot more people with you live than I do, and you very rarely, if at all, ever reference the chat. Do you find that difficult, or are you happy to not do that?
I don't think it's necessary anymore. I think it never was necessary. I think in my world, it was more like I needed you, the guest, plenty of room for you to speak about your life, because it became very documentarian style. The show became very... it became kind of not scripted, but very in a format that I felt that I would watch the actual people that were writing. And if I felt something was appropriate or a question, I would pull it and then bring it to the person's attention. I didn't want to stop the flow of the show. Mm-hmm. I felt you were doing that and others were doing that. I wanted to be more informative. I didn't want to be stuffy, but I also wanted to stay on the train of thought that we were going to get everything we needed within those 2 hours or an hour, hour and a half, depends on how long the person wants to speak. Now, you talk about the people I've had on, and everyone always says this to me, and I see it you're friends with everybody. It just so happens we've worked so many years in this game with between production, between gigs, between traveling. You can't help to not become friends with everybody. You spend a lot of hours with people sometimes. For example, if I went to Vocal Booth, right, in the years previous, and I've seen some of our people, Andy, I'm with them 4 or 5 days. We're laughing now and crying and reminiscing. And then, those are friendships that are formative. They don't go away. So when people wonder that when I'm talking to someone, how does Lenny feel so comfortable? Well, because we have broken bread, we've traveled, we may have drank till we were drunk. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we built sound systems. We were on flights that almost crashed. You don't know what, we have stories for days. I got stories with Victor Simel. I got stories with Ralphie D from Brooklyn. I got stories with God Angel Marias.
How do you prevent yourself from getting into those anecdotes when you have the guests?
I have to just bite my cheek because I can't. I want to go, hey, you remember when we did this? And I can't.
Are you paying attention, Mark? Don't ever bring up that. Jesus loves that.
He's got notes. I have I'll tell you, I can't remember what I ate yesterday, but I could tell you what we did 38 years ago.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and you see me do it, Andy. On a boom, I'll go back. They'll be saying, "You remember this?" And I'll go, "Yeah, that was such and such," and then let them go back and keep going. Not to take over the show. Again, it's not for me to be in the position of being interviewed. That is for me to be moderating. I just want to keep us on a certain track. So I'm blessed to say that, yes, with the friendships, it makes it so much more comfortable. Then on top of it, people feel very comfortable talking to me. I'm easy. I'm not judgmental. I'm going to be there with you. I'm Oprah, like Kenny Carpenter said. You're like Oprah Winfrey of dance music. I'm crying with you. I'm laughing with you. I can share some of those stories with you. It's wonderful. And again, we would do this with no camera on, Andy. You know that.
Yeah.
Easily. You and I have sat and talked for many hours with who's listening? Probably a lot of people. We didn't care. But we were just talking amongst ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. So why would I not be able to do this with the camera on? In fact, even doing this right now it's so easy for me to do this. It's like
you say that about being out and drinking or whatever. Have you ever thought, well, it's so relaxed, let me get a glass of wine and sit with a glass of wine while the show is on? Because I remember the first time we spoke, sorry, I will let you answer in a second, Lenny. The first time Craig and Lee spoke, Mark, I had a beer. You remember I was in the big white chair. It was nice and relaxed. But then slowly I realised, no, I need to be sharp. I want to be on my game. It would be so nice for me to sit here with an alcoholic drink and just relax and chat to people. But that's another angle. So coming back to yourself, Lenny, have you ever thought that? Let me get a little wine. Although I suppose it's in the afternoon for you, right?
Yeah, kind of afternoon. And also I'm trying to keep... I don't want to be too relaxed. I want to keep this thing. I want to keep you there with me and the viewer. And when you drink, you kind of lose track. I find you get definitely too eased.
Yeah, definitely.
When you mentioned before about the word ease, there's two words. There's disease and ease. Remember that.
Disease, Mark can tell us all about that.
Yeah, he knows that. Disease. And I learned that because I have dealt with my wife having cancer and people around me and all that. And you learn the word disease and ease and learning to cope with situations. COVID was like that. COVID was like, how do we cope with this now and make this fun? I love to have a good drink. In fact, anybody that knows me knows I like to have vodka dirty with olives, iced, not Russian. I'll take Tito's American vodka. I'm not gonna say to take Russian, but I do like Russian vodka. But that's a drink that I enjoy, and I can sit down and we'll really get rolling and let's stuff really roll up. But that's where I have to make sure if I'm drinking like that, I may not be able to censor. And that's where the guard, you're asking that question, how far do I cross? When you're drinking, the guards, that gate is up. It means you have no more bumpers. So you kind of sometimes may say something that may shake the wrong way and you don't, I personally will not feel comfortable with having someone feel upset on the show.
Have you
You
ever
know,
had anybody afterwards say, "Oh, Lenny, can we edit this out? I shouldn't have said this or whatever."
no, because everybody knows when they're coming to say what they're saying, they know. They feel, oh, what I've said to them is, you realize this is all over, of course, and all platforms and this and that. And, they ask me, how deep do you want me to go? I said, well, you can go as deep as you like. Don't worry about that. They're more concerned for me, for the censorship side, than it is. For example, I'm going to make an announcement today. We're bringing Man Parrish to True House Stories.
Incredible.
Okay. A legend of legends. Man Parrish said to me, how deep you want me to go, Lenny? I said, well, you can go, because he's got sexual situations, all kinds of things, starting at 14 years old, molestation. And he said to me, on a side note, YouTube took down all my videos because someone complained that I was too much. I said, look, you could go there, but just let's make it on a platonic level, for like if you were sitting with a college crowd and explaining this, because people want to know about your story with the 808 drum machine and all that great stuff. But yet we do want to know about the dark side, because to every colorful side, there must be something that's dark about it. Because that's what the artistry part is of this world. Whenever you're an artist, most artists are either mad crazy or something's just not right. Not everything is perfection. It just doesn't work like that. You don't get beauty from 100% beauty. There's always going to be something ugly about it, but the end result can be beautiful. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the more you talk to people, the more you learn about life and the hard knocks and your own hard knocks. And you're getting older, you're getting wiser. And if you're smart, you can put this all together so that you can continuously reference from your own life. As you said before, Andy, knowing you have history, knowing that you have life experience, hard knocks, success, failures. All this is wrapped up so you can have empathy for someone else when you're an interviewer.
Mark, you sitting listening, you agree with all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I listen to you guys a lot, so I'm enjoying just being here and being a part of it all together. A couple of things that Lenny said. The Oprah Winfrey of dance, I did like that, because I got called the Michael Parkinson of house. So you can have that in America and we'll have this one in the UK, right? But I thought that was really funny. And the other thing as well that Lenny, obviously, experience of dis-ease and at ease, and that's kind of the premise of my book as well, is that in every crisis there is an opportunity. But sometimes you have to look a bit deeper for it. Sometimes you have to go deep and go and try and understand, well, what is the opportunity in this crisis? And although COVID was awful for many people, there were opportunities that opened up, and now we've started on a new thing. I've started on a new public speaking career, you know what I mean? That's going to take me all the way until I'm 80, 90, 100. I'm going to keep going out there and doing what I did 2 weeks ago, because it's part of my purpose. It's part of why I'm on this planet. This is part of my purpose, to bring joy, to share knowledge, to inspire, to create. This is all positive stuff that I like to do. And you guys are on the same path, which means that we're all in a good vibration. We're all here together.
Indeed. So let's focus on the conversation, the brief conversation that you and I had yesterday, because the whole point of why I wanted to bring you both on is because over the course of the months, we've enjoyed some fantastic interviews. We've enjoyed some great exposure. For myself, I have experienced at times frustration in the fact that the content that I'm sharing, I believe, should be being received by more people, and always second guessing as to why it isn't getting in front of people. And Mark, you said that, well, that doesn't really concern you. That doesn't bother you. You are here. Your purpose is to tell your story, so to speak, share your words. You can put it much more eloquently than I can, and you never focus on the amount of people that you have watching.
No,
and I would say to you, come on, trying to get something out of you, and you're like, no, there's never a negative involved.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't involve numbers for me. I mean, I love the word should, because I've studied a lot with Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor. He says, stop shoulding all over yourself. All right. It's not about that. It's not about shoulding. It's about doing and being. You're a human being, so be a human and actually like get out there. You've got a message. You've got a platform. I don't care if there's 5 people watching me or 500 people watching me. The bottom line is that I believe that what I'm doing is something of note. It's something of importance. I'm a best-selling, award-winning author now. And it's the information that I share is worth sharing, and the response I get. For me, 135 people turning up to a live event was beautiful. The next one, I want 200. In 5 years' time, I want 10,000. But I'm not going to be upset or frustrated if I don't. I'm just going to aim for that and do everything I can with the information that I've got. Frustration, if you get frustrated about the numbers, and I see Andy, I love you, mate. I see you sometimes get a bit frustrated on your Facebook. You're there typing about
that was a long time ago, though. I'm a new person now.
I tell you what, straight up, you've done the e-colors thing with me and everything else, and you're red green and I'm yellow red in e-colors, which we could describe another day to people. But I see your frustration. That's just one of the ways you see the world, your personality. Sometimes you see the world and you get frustrated with someone who might miss a detail, or when you're sending emails and all that kind of stuff, as well as what you just described. And one of the things with it is that frustration is actually impatience. Yeah. And one of the things, I coach people a lot on this, just be patient, have faith in your message and what you're doing. More and more people will come to you. We all want to be able to reach further and further out. I mean, Emma says to me, how can we reach more people? We're always thinking how we can reach more people. But the frustration or the impatience does not come into it, because I know the power of a negative thought, because the negative thinking was what took me into the crisis that I experienced when my health gave out and I hit the floor. So I know there is no place for negative thoughts or feelings. And I program myself now that I don't need to do that. I'm safe, I'm well, I have food, I have clothing, I have shelter, I'm grateful. We have this connection. We have so much stuff that we can actually be hugely grateful for. Would I like to reach more people? Of course. Will I reach more people? Yes, definitely. I'm not going to get frustrated because I know that holds me back, if you like. So I appreciate the conversations that we have, Andy, always. And I always love hearing from you. I think that every now and again, I still do see a little Facebook post where I go, oh, Andy's feeling a little bit frustrated about something.
Feel free to reach out and give me a jab in the side if you want.
I will.
I feel that, and this is a whole different conversation, but I just feel I'm being myself, and I like being fully transparent. Sure. So let me come to Lenny then.
There's nothing wrong with that, Andy, at all. You know what I mean? Be real. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Being real, turning up. All I'm saying, you're like you were trying to jab me yesterday, going, "Come on, you must be frustrated if you only get a few people watching." I'm like, honestly, never, never ever.
So Lenny, yourself, the having some streams you have more people live, others you have more comment, because the whole point of why we all do this, the three of us, is to archive material. It is there forever, and it's important. And even though me admitting the frustrations, I'm still here every week, continuing to do it, because I believe what I'm doing is great. So Lenny, yourself, have you ever paid attention to the numbers and thought, well, why is this
I'll tell you when I
working?
did. When we calculated what our end of year was, we calculated it was about 250,000 to 500,000 people watching these shows through all podcasts and everything. I took a seat and went like this. All right,
with the whiskey.
This is not bad. Holy smoke! I can't believe they're watching that. Maybe watching us. They're much. I'm looking at Facebook. I said, "Who cares about Facebook?" Oh, sorry, shouldn't say who cares about Facebook. Andy, I know you care about it. So do I. We have ego. We have a thing called excellence. We have a thing called drive. We want to succeed. We want people to be knowledgeable to what we're doing. But here's the problem, children. Get your pen and papers out. Listen carefully. Stop looking at everybody else's stuff. Stop comparing. If you stop doing that and visualize yourself in a right spot doing what you love, you will excel. Because if you start doing what everybody else does, is going like this through fake book, everybody look real good, going like this. Oh, he's got a million things. Stop. Stop.
Well, Lenny, one of the things I teach and one of the things in my book is comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh.
If you want to feel bad about yourself, start comparing yourself to other people. Otherwise, feel good about you and put out that energy. I do want to tell you as well, Andy, that my lovely wife's made a comment on the stream. Can you see it?
I can see it. Yeah.
Would you like to read it?
Yeah, it can be disheartening watching the viewing numbers, but the amazing thing is it's online forever, and you never know how many people actually watch and share in the end, or how many lives you touch. If you only reach one person and help them, that's incredible. Love what you're doing, Andy. Thank you very much.
Love what you're doing, Andy.
Thank you. And I know that. I do know that. I am really in a great place myself. The reason I even bring it up is because I know there are other people who aren't in the fortunate position to have the mindset and the confidence that you and I and Lenny have. And I always try and relate to them and say, look, I'm nobody special, but I do have some kind of level of rapport, some kind of expertise. And if I can struggle to get in front of people, then people with less expertise and less history than myself shouldn't be so disheartened. But then they're comparing themselves to me. So maybe what I've just said is a load of nonsense.
No, but you are unique. You are special. Each one of us is unique and special on the planet. There's 8 billion of us, I think, now. And, there's not another person who looks like you, sounds like you, or indeed is called exactly the same name as you or whatever, So I'd say that we're all unique. We're all special. We've all got something to share. I think the three of us, if I can sort of put all three of us together, we're all action takers, right? We take action. We've set something up that's really important, that helps other people, that entertains, that engages, and that adds value to other people's lives. And that's why we're here tonight, because we all appreciate one another. And I think that's a really special thing. And people watch it and they love it. They love everything that we're doing. So long may it continue. And I think that what's opened up post-COVID is that it's a more hybrid world now. So this still has a real place, as does being able to get back into live events.
Mm-hmm. The interactivity, that getting people to watch live, because everything is on demand now. Everything is content on demand. So Lenny, you must still get a great, because I personally, I prefer to take in your show on the podcast while I'm walking to the gym, training in the gym, and walking back. It's a bit frustrating when, and I shouldn't use that word, Mark, I'm sorry, but it's annoying when you're showing photographs and I think, I wish I could see that photograph, what they're sharing. But for me, the convenience of the podcast outweighs the having to stay up past 8 o'clock of an evening. So Lenny, yes, the podcast is really good for you, the on demand.
So your show is called Inspire, correct, Andy? Can you refrain what the show is called, please? Because I want to explain something.
Inspire and be inspired.
Okay, so here's everyone. This is where I'm going to now explain what he was saying before about bringing us on. If you're on a treadmill, people, and it's set off and you're starting out slow, right? And we're talking your numbers, and you don't really see many numbers, but you're walking, right? And you're doing your thing. The problem with everything in life is the minute that the treadmill of life starts to rise and you start to get resistance, this is where the winners and the people who don't make it fall off. You have to learn to overcome the pain and frustration of disappointment. Disappointment is a very hard thing to swallow. The question in life is, how do we take disappointment, rebox it, freshen it up, and give it back to everyone as something positive? That's why it takes time. Everything takes time. You don't have success overnight. These stories that everyone's talking about, it happens overnight. Yes, 1 minute can change the world. How many hours and days and years does it take to get to the 1 minute mark that all of a sudden someone switches the light on and it's now a different world for you?
Mm-hmm.
So many of our peers, I've seen this happen. I'm not going to mention names, big names too, had started shows. They did not like the way it was going. They jumped off. Then also, I noticed, and a few others had called me along the way. They said, "Hey, I see a lot of people copying. Are you angry?" I said, "No. Actually, to be honest, I'm quite impressed that everyone sees my show as a positive format." Remember, we talked about that, you and I, Andy. We talked about that. And I remember, I think you even said, "Are you getting angry about it?" I said, "No, let them all copy it." Here's the one thing they can't do. They can never be me or you, Andy. They can never be Mark. They can never walk in Mark's shoes for what he's gone through. They can never walk through your shoes, walk on with how your path of life and the things that your struggles. These are all that what makes it fun, elementary, and also gives it the inspiration that why we do these shows is because we want to bring people awareness. Imagine how many people I lost in COVID that I would have loved to have gotten. And here's a prime example. 1 week to airing, talking to my best buddy, Angel Moraes. We're talking about the show. And on Friday and Sunday, I get the phone call from Manny saying to me he had a massive heart attack. I had him scheduled for next week, the week after he died. Angel's story is huge too to this whole house music story. Mm-hmm. I was gutted because not only was it for True House Stories, I actually really cried. This is one of my close friends that I knew when we were all going to the Paradise Garage. So it was difficult to swallow. These were things that, how do you go on and do the show? You pick up, you put on your big boy pants and you start to get back on that treadmill, one foot in front of the other, and slowly put things back in order. Mm-hmm. And another anecdote I will now say, years ago, I was with a numerologist, astrological person. I know this is, we're talking about things like psychics and stuff. So it was told to me that I would mentor a generation of people. And I had no clue what the hell they would talk mentoring a generation of people, something like that. And I said, mentoring? Yes, you're going to do things in front of the camera. I says, you're out of your mind. What do you mean? Oh yeah, you're going to be like talking. And I said, this is not possible. I says, the only camera I go in front of is when and I remember saying all this, when they interview me, or maybe I'll talk about my thing and that's it. They said, no, you're going to teach people. You're going to mentor people. And I went, holy shit. I had no indicators that this would have ever come to fruition, what I'm doing today. Like you, Mark, I've been to those seminars. I listen to Tony Robbins. He's amazing. I know Bob Proctor gave you the endorsement. I know about Bob Proctor. I know about The Secret. I have friends who do readings. I have people that I have a close friend, a fantastic world-renowned psychic friend. And, we always talk about all these things and how metaphysical works with the physical, but I just never dreamed that I would ever do this. And here's the thing, everyone. When I started, there was no money involved. It wasn't like I had a big contract. Okay? There's no contracts. It was like no BMG distribution coming to do a Lenny Fontana show. No, it was just turn the camera on, turn the light on. Let's see where we go with this. It's like driving in the dark with no maps, nothing. Just, hey, you know what? We're just going to drive north. We don't know where we're going.
Let's talk about I will bring you back to talking about those big plans and where it can move on to. We're only going to have Mark for a short while longer, so I want to ask Mark about something that you touched on there, Lenny, about how you deal with adversities and how you handle situations. You yourself, Lenny actually just mentioned Bob Proctor. You came on air and did a very moving live stream, and you used your grief in a very positive way and a very motivational and inspirational way for the people that follow you, your friends and your clients. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Lenny, for mentioning that. That endorsement sort of like blew me away. I've been studying with Bob for like 17 years. I really wanted to get him onto my straight talking interview, and unfortunately, of course, he's just passed, so I didn't get him. It would have been an amazing opportunity for me to actually, really quiz him in front of a group of people, which would have been amazing. Unfortunately, it never worked out. But as you say, dust yourself off, go again, and I mean. I was sitting here on Friday afternoon a few weeks ago, just finishing up my last coaching call. In fact, I seem to remember that I got a message saying, "Have you seen the news?" And I was like, "What's this?" And I looked at my phone, and I found that Bob had passed, the day before. And I was kind of finished up the call. I think I was on, and I tried. But I just started crying. My tears were real, and I was just like really upset because this guy had been like a father figure to me for the last sort of 17 years of my life, when I turned the dis-ease around and recovered from the bankruptcy and became this guy that you see today. I would say that everyone needs a coach, a mentor. Everybody needs someone to help them, to guide them. I've got numerous coaches, and I coach many people as well now. There are well-known 5 stages of grief. The first one being denial, the second one being anger, then bargaining, then depression, and finally acceptance. And I went through all 5 of those stages from Friday afternoon when I heard about Bob's passing to Saturday morning when I came on and did that. And it was real. It was emotional. I planned it Friday evening. I picked out the videos of Bob that I was going to play. I spoke about my own experiences. I played the endorsement that he gave me where he likened me to his good friend Og Mandino. That was it was so powerful. It was so moving. And then that's it, right? You just get into total acceptance, which is my definition of love, and therefore why I never get frustrated or anxious or any of the negative emotions anymore, because I just totally accept life, life and death and everything in between, just totally accept all of it, and you're always in a better place than trying to go through those 5 stages of grief over and over. So I did grieve online. I did let people see how I was feeling. I felt it was an absolute must that I had to come online after everything he's done for me in the video endorsement and all the coaching and training I've done with him. I had to come online and pay that tribute. It's now online and people can watch it on my YouTube channel, of course. I planned it out. It was the right thing to do. And I was pleased to be able to pay tribute to that man, because without him, I wouldn't have learned half of this stuff. I probably would have just been like carried on being a DJ in an unconscious state, not really knowing what I was doing. Whereas now I'm in a position that 12 years ago as a bankrupt, I could only have dreamed of. And I did visualize myself for 12 years. The last 12 years, I visualized myself with my little Janet Jackson microphone, walking out and delivering like a seminar. And I did it 2 weeks ago for 6 hours on stage. It was a beautiful thing. And long may that continue, because it's something it's my purpose. It's something I'm really, really passionate about. But I think that we have to go through these stages. COVID was a time of grieving, not just about death, but about, people grieving about something almost always. A lot of DJs were grieving about the fact that their career had just been halted. The fact that they, if that was their one source of income and their only thing they'd done for a long years, they went through the 5 stages of grief, literally, in front of my very eyes. Some of them became coaching clients and stuff like that, because they just needed to get that grief out and get moving about the fact that, well, that was the life I thought I had, and now I need to look at a new life, a new way of doing things. So, look, it's a fascinating subject, and I'm very blessed and very grateful to be in a position that I've written a book about how to overcome a crisis, because I went through my own personal crisis 17 and then 16 and 15 and 14 and 13, 12 years ago. But thankfully, I've come out of that now, and my mission is to help others, much the same as Lenny with his interviews, helping other people, inspiring other people, Andy inspiring other people. That is a calling that you don't concern yourself about the numbers. You just do it. And that's why we're all here.
I agree. I definitely agree. And one of the things that I've gleaned from yourself as well is that you say that you focus, don't focus on the money, focus on the actions, focus on the content, focus on the delivery. And if you do it correct, then the money will find its way to you.
if you give a great service and you add value to people's lives, you will make money no matter what you do. You know, it'd be differing amounts. You know, I used to make like thousands off a remix and stuff like that. You don't get that so much anymore in the dance industry, certainly not at the level that I was at. But, you know, that's why I've got multiple sources of income now. I've got multiple things. Money comes to me on a continuous basis from multiple places, and it's fine. I can relax and enjoy it and enjoy what I'm doing with you guys. I don't have to think about money anymore. It's just there. It's done. You know, it's happening and it's cool. But I had to go through stages of grief about the life that I thought I was going to have as a DJ and a record producer when it all came crashing down. I went through those stages, recreated myself, and then I give great service to every client I'm with, every company I'm running. I add value to every conversation. I hope everyone listening is enjoying this and enjoying you too. And we're all adding value and giving service to each other. Ultimately, the money will come off the back of that. It's a universal law. It cannot fail, you know, if you go in with that mindset.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, I think that you've just summed that up so perfectly. I'm conscious that you actually have to go and speak to someone very shortly. So, Lenny, we're going to lose Mark very shortly. Is there anything that you want to say to him, and then you and I can have a little conversation?
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, to say the least.
Thank you, mate.
Because I know Mark's growth. And I remember when Mark had that unfortunate hardship that happened in his life. I remember the timing. And I also understand the atrocities of running a record label. And I use the word atrocities because it truly is a very tough thing. In the world of business, when they say music business, record business, this is what they should say: business, music, business, record, because a lot of us came in the beginning with our hearts open, our pockets empty, and we came to do everything we could to just have a fun time and just to see where this went. You know, they say the summer of love, all that wonderful stuff. But here we are now when you have to make a living and you're forced to make decisions sometimes you don't want to have to make. And things change, times change. And the biggest change was how music was being sold. Streaming became the popular thing. No more the physical world was the thing anymore. So, you know, when you're trained a certain way in life, and this is whatever you do in life, when you're trained to do something the way you've known it's been done before, and you're doing it, you're this now, and you thought that's the way it's going to be, boy, they change the script on everybody within a minute. So, right? So on Mark, I will then say, keep the journey, because it's not over yet, son, until we're no longer breathing. You know what I'm saying? So I say the same to everyone. You keep going. You keep putting out that eulogy, that homily, and give people inspiration. Yes, because the value in it is anyone that is successful from what you are doing is more success to us because we are passing the gifts.
Oh, beautiful. So, Mark, tell us again about May.
Well, first of all, big love. Thank you very much for the big love there. I really appreciate that, Lenny. Yeah, so Saturday, May the 7th, we're back with Life Remixed live at the Isha Theatre. Function One sound system. I will have my Janet Jackson microphone on again. We're going to study relationships. So we're going to be looking at how to create great relationships in your life using some e-colours and my good lady wife I can't get her on the stage with me, but she's the voice of God in the room. She gets the microphone and she's at the back and we're talking. It was really good banter. We're going to stream it live. The tickets are on Eventbrite now as well, so people can actually watch it live as well on stream, which will be great this time. And then we're going to do the power of decisions. And then the final section is money, property, and crowdfunding. So we're looking at all of that as well. We've got, as I said, 50 plus clients around the world now. People are responding to what we're doing. We're stronger together. It's a wonderful thing that I spend my life doing now, building companies, coaching, helping others. It's something that I really am so grateful for. I can't even explain it. The gratitude is just so huge. And in the evening, we've got CJ McIntosh joining us, right? So you know, the legend, the Ministry of Sound legend, the man I used to, you know, drive back to from a gig from like 3 a.m. I'd be back at ministry by 5 or 6 a.m. I'd be on the dance floor until 9 a.m. with CJ DJing, you know. So that's going to be a wonderful little, you know, trip down memory lane with some fantastic soulful house sounds. And yeah, look, if you want to come, just reach out to me, jump onto Eventbrite, grab yourself a ticket. There's only a couple of hundred people, so it's not a huge venue, but it's certainly something that we're growing and we're really enjoying. So I want to say, you know, what you said to me, Lenny, do you know what I mean? Never stop, you know, until you're our last breath. Don't stop, keep going, keep giving, keep growing, keep being positive. You know, I had to lose everything in order to learn this information. I had to lose my health, I had to lose my money, I had to lose relationships, I had to lose everything to be able to learn this information. And my gift now, and Marcy Shimoff from The Secret said, thank you, Mark, for losing everything so we don't have to. And my gift now my gift to everyone now is, you don't have to lose everything to grasp this information. You just have to make tweaks in how you think. Your mind is like a muscle. You've got to work it. You know, build your mind up to be what you would like to be, because there's always time. As Lenny said, there's always time. You know, keep being positive, and there's always time to grow and do something positive with your life. So
beautiful. Beautiful, inspirational indeed. There is always time, but there's no more time for you because you got to go.
I have to go. I do have another call in 15 minutes. That's quite an important business call. But I want to say, Lenny, so good to see you, mate. You know, let's catch up again. You know, I'm always inspired by what you're doing, mate. And Andy, tips hat, you're the Don. Thank you for putting this together, mate. Congratulations, Andy. On 1 year of streaming. Never stop, never get frustrated, keep going.
Never surrender, never give in.
I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that when you've gone. Right, you better go. All
right, I'm gonna catch the last 15 minutes later. All right.
Okay, brother. Take care.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, so that's changed. I'm going to change to this screen now. Is this going to work? No. Let me just change. Bear with me 1 second, Lenny.
So while Andy's doing all that,
sorry, carry on.
Let me give everybody what Andy should not do. Andy, if you stop bantering and you stop to change, it's not going to be acceptable. You must be Andy Ward. You must be grumpy. You must tell us what you need to be telling us. Otherwise, it won't be you. They'll be like, because here's the first question I would ask: Andy, you okay? Is everything all right?
Why are you so happy? I don't know if I like that.
Why are you finding God? Wait, did you find God, Andy, or you made God one? What did you do?
So
everyone, let's take a poll. Should Andy be not grumpy anymore?
I'm not sure I'd like to be known as grumpy, or maybe I've just been kidding myself or this like. So listen, we're gonna continue talking. Let me just say to everyone, Lenny and I are going to continue talking for a little while. We could be talking all evening. We won't be talking all evening, but I have a few more questions that I want to ask him. So thank you for being here. And if you have any questions to ask, do feel free. But as Lenny said, we try our best to let the conversation flow and not interfere with it too much. So I will address you guys when I finish talking to Lenny. So along the way, you heard Mark's amazing outlook and his positivity. And when I was saying about the frustrations I had in the past, because I still continue to do this, I would be lying to myself if I didn't notice when 1 week we had a lot of people watching, others we didn't. It's no reflection on the quality of what we're doing. I think it's just there's so much content out there to get people's attention. So do you make conscious efforts from an interesting point of view, the people that you're going to interview, as to you can bring more numbers, or you're just focusing purely on the stories?
First of all, I'm getting a lot of people begging to want to come on, so I have to be careful who I'm bringing on. Mm-hmm. And there's a selection process involved. Is the story that's going to be told something that I want our viewers to learn about? Is it worth going the extra mile to go through all the promotion work and setting everything up? I'll be real. I brought people that are not huge successes, and I just felt their stories need to be told. because they're great people. They're great stories. So it's not like I'm looking at the numbers going, oh, right. I want everyone at the level of Calvin Harris, David No, it'd be nice to have everybody every week at that level, because then, in a perfect world, if we were doing this on, say, BBC One, we would have to have what they would want, production quality level of programming, so that we can interrupt everybody else on another station to come and sit with us. But in this case, that's not the situation. It's more of quality first. Do I have a connection? Can I bring them on? I have to think about that. Is there some sort of connection? I don't like to bring someone I really don't know. And it's nothing to them. I don't know everybody. I know a lot of people, but there is this newer generation that I may miss some of the people, because it's just like music coming out. There's just too much to know. It's not like back in the day where it was, 50, 75 main guys that you knew. And then there was just a lot of fillers. Now there's like thousands and thousands of people making music and stuff. And everyone feels their story is important. I only have
Everyone feels.
X amount of stuff. Everyone feels, and it's true. Doesn't mean I feel that. Doesn't mean the viewer feels that. But you feel your story is important. And I've gotten, or should I say, I've received emails from people explaining that stuff, saying and they write this, I feel that it would be important that I can be on your show. And I'm like,
that's not for the individual to make that decision.
But you, of course not. But you, who's the best salesman? You're going to be your best salesman, right?
Yeah, totally.
So you got to give them credit. You got to give people credit. It's like, and I'm going, I don't know who this person is. Does anybody know the person? And I don't want to be snob. It sounds like I'm being snobby. But if I don't know this person, then the viewers that watch the show may not know the person. And they're going to be really enthused to kind of switch on the thing that night. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to really think about it.
Let me ask you then about, we were talking about the numbers, and you were on the road to getting your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube so you could monetize the channel. That seems like an age ago now, as you roll over into 2,000 plus subscribers. Without being too personal, because obviously you wouldn't ask someone what their salary is. Did it work out as well as you expected once you do get monetized? Because
absolutely, say it loud, absolutely not.
I don't believe that there's some golden ticket there once you get monetized.
No, Willy Wonka money. No, it's just some play money. It's Monopoly money. But really, is a bigger picture than that. Now, you start getting 50,000 subscribers, then you're talking 5,000, 6,000 pounds a month, 7,000. That's when you start making really big. YouTube, these type of shows, they make money, but not like that. I'm just starting to get, what they call residual money now. It doesn't even keep me operational. It's true. It's just, we didn't do this for money. It just wasn't, but that's the whole house. Wait, let me clarify this. Everyone listen carefully once again. Back in the late 80s and 90s, when we did this house music thing, we didn't do it for money. We did not do it for money. Do you know why I did making records? I wanted to hear Tony Humphries play my record. I wanted to hear Larry Levan play my record. That's all I cared about. It was like, oh, if I got a record deal, great. I got some money, but I wasn't thinking about making a hit record ever. Not at that time. That's later. In the beginning, like when
in the
beginning there was house, and house music made no money. It did make money. It did make money. A lot of people got raped.
I was going to say, for the wrong people.
For the wrong people. There was a lot of people that made a lot of money. True fact. But here we go. COVID, cameras, Zoom technology, all this became hyper fast. It was like, wow, we have a chance to do something. Look, again, Manuel, thank God, my assistant, my partner in the record label, Current Power. He's like, what do you want to do? I says, I just basically want to stay visual. That was basically what we did that for, you know. And he's good at all the back end programming of making sure everything is on podcasting, all that stuff's up. We have, you know, we do the videos, we have the algorithms, we look at everything now. But when we were starting, I was just happy to turn the light on. You know, and it was like that, brother. You remember we talked about it. I said to you, just me putting the light on and having the camera run, it was like, it just felt like, it felt like religion. It felt like I was doing something good. Mm-hmm. And I used to say that I'm bringing you quality programming, all of you at home, wherever you are, stay with us. Come on now. And people were sending me fan mail. We were getting fan mail. I just got a fan mail from someone recently who says this, says, I know you brought Richard Earnshaw on. Can you bring us Grant Nelson? Can you bring us? And this is what they asked me. Can you bring?
If you get Grant Nelson before me, I'm not going to be happy at all. Think Grant Nelson's coming on the camera, you got no chance.
No, he won't come on. He told me already. I'm friends with him. He won't come on.
Let me ask you, at what point was the inspiration for you to take it to the next level then? Was it peer pressure? People saying, Lenny, what you've got here is gold. You've got to get onto the big screen.
That's what you always hear from everybody. You know that, Andy. Say, go ahead, Andy. Do the talk. Go ahead. Do the whispers. Go ahead. You gotta say it, Andy. Go ahead.
No. Go on. You do better than me.
Mate, you got gold dust, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Credit to Terry Farley. Terry says to me, those that know Terry Farley, who I love dearly, from Farley and Hella, said to me, Lenny, can I use DC LaRue's interview with you for Faith?
His voice isn't that high.
Yes. Well, I said, yeah, I can't. I said, yeah. Hell yeah. He says, we're going to transcribe it and use it. And I was like, wow, my stuff that we're doing is becoming now part of the landscape of our industry.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. That to me was the most biggest compliment. Lenny, since you know everybody, can you write can you write a piece on such and such in the beginnings of discourse? Oh yeah. So I was like, wow, I'm changing my life now into a whole different arena. This camera thing is turning out to be something super cool. I don't know if I want to make records anymore. I started to think that. I don't know if I want to make records anymore. Reason why I said that, everyone, was because without a nightclub scene, it's really difficult for us to be able to make records and promote something into something that basically goes to someone to play on a radio, and in 1 week it's over. There's no longevity. You don't make classics like that. You don't make records what we call everlasting. So for me, that's a disappointment. It's like a child that just went the wrong road. You know what I'm saying, Andy? It's just like our records became our babies. You know, we all got together and made these records. They were part of a historical moment, and you can always go back to them and have those memories and the time period and all that. And they become part of your legacy. Yeah. And I just couldn't see the fact that I was going to do a record now, and it was just going to be like in and then out. It was like blink your eyes and it was over. I was like, no. I told them, well, we do not release anything. Hold back all my releases till this is COVID's over. I don't care how long it takes. So he said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to try teaching first. All right. So we started with that. And Karen, God bless her soul, who's do my bookings and everything. And she had just closed up her agency at the time and came to work with me. And it was just like this forced problem that came. Now she's like, what am I going to do? I said, listen, you're going to work with me. We're going to stay in it because COVID's going to be over in 3 months. You heard that, everybody? 3 months. Well, that was 2 years later, and I'm still saying it. So kind of in the rearview mirror. Yeah, it's over in 3 months. Yeah, okay. So she was like, I said, Karen, listen, when we do this teaching, I need you to kind of be like like what Mark was talking about, his wife, the person that, will kind of proctor us through it, as I'm teaching, and you'll come up and say, excuse me, Lenny, can you? And she did great at that. She did really great. We did 8 of those. We had about 30 people in each teaching session, which was pretty good. I said, wow, this is really cool on a Saturday. And I was doing that. And I says, all right, that's done. And like I said, I went on to do Let's Get Marshall Jefferson and CC Rogers and Byron Stingley and DC LaRue and this one and that one. And it was just like, I'm going to reach high. Let's go for Carl Cox. I'm going to get Morales. And they said, yeah. Louis Vega said, yeah. I was like, wow. They were like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm down to do it. It's like, this is getting good. This is getting more comfortable, more easier. I started to feel more relaxed about everything because it was like we had good artwork. We were doing proper promotion. We were giving everything we can. We were doing it more in the fact of when you call it like tithing, we're tithing more than we were receiving. I wasn't taking any money from anybody. I was just doing it. As Andy knows, you just turn the camera on and away we go. You pay the electric bill and everything just keeps going. Pay the Wi-Fi bill. And as long as you can keep paying these bills, you keep going. Right? So as to why I haven't done Twitch yet, which I'm just about ready to start doing because I did not want to do it until I had the right cameras, the right look, my console set up correctly. I just did not want to come out after doing all these shows and have this fan base and come out with something that looked kind of whack. So I was like, no, we're going to wait on that. I'm just going to, as everyone's, and that was another thing. People, I was watching everybody, including their sisters, brothers, children, mothers, all DJing. Everybody was DJing at the same time on Facebook. Remember that, Andy, at the beginning? Yeah. It was like, yo, it was like DJ Joe, DJ X, DJ this, DJ.
Before the copyright issues kicked in.
Until and I said, this is not going to last long. Because I'm a writer, producer, and Andy understands this. There's a copyright claims issue that we were already fighting with Facebook about. I said, this is not going to last. And sure enough, it was like the police of Facebook came with the clamping on your car. They impounded the cars. It was like free parking is over. You have thousands of dollars in tickets. Your car is clamped. It's getting auctioned. It was like kind of like that. I was watching people's stuff getting shut down. And I said, I thank God I left that. Because I knew what would have happened. I would have been DJing and I would have been dead. And then now what I would have had. Right? So again, I'm like feeling good about what I'm doing. Everything is in the right place. So I get a big publishing deal for my music. Thank God came at the right time. What a great publisher, Bucks Music, took me on as a writer, with my catalog. And I have a lot of songs. What does that mean, everybody? That means they collect on all the material that I've released all over the world because there's societies. My records get played on the radio, get put into movies or commercial, and they make sure they properly collect on my behalf. So I was able to have now a proper publisher, thank God, that came along at the right time. So I was getting my life back in order. The publishing I was always wanting a proper publisher, and I got that. And I made that announcement when I signed that last September. Bucks Publishing took on me, and it was big news. And I was grateful that I finally had someone in my corner for that. So that was kind of taken care of. So now it was like, okay, in the meantime, you got all this wonderful content. So where are you taking it? Well, I've been told I sat down with people from Bravo Media. That was my first meeting to sit down and talk about a show. They said, we saw the show. We love it. Okay. We don't know yet where it fits. Okay. Netflix came to me, some scouts. That's how it really knew I had something. Netflix knocked on my door. Love the show. We can give you some money to do a documentary. I said, nah, I don't want to do a documentary. I want to do on the show. Well, with your type of content, we do documentaries. But then if that's the case, we want to see a sizzle reel. Wow. So I put that phone call down and I go, what's a sizzle reel? I have no idea what a sizzle reel is. I talk to some of my movie friends and they say, no, that's like when you shoot a pilot and they give you the best stuff, or like when you go to sit down in a movie theater and you watch what's coming out next year and you see the explosions and you hear the voice of Darth Vader coming in a dark room amongst many lights come this great thing. And that's what we have to do. Amongst many stories comes out of the water, true house stories, bam, and all that stuff. And it's $25,000-$30,000 to produce it properly, I'm like, I don't know if that's the right way yet either. So I do a crowdfunding. And I spoke to Andy about it in the beginning, because I was like, all right, we'll try this out. We'll do a crowdfunding. And I needed to crowdfund because, again, I had never asked for anything before, ever in my life. I wasn't really having any income coming in. I was having residuals and things, and doing odd jobs and stuff like that. But, my DJ career was paused. Record business paused. Everything was on pause. So you kind of have to think about things a little differently. You got to regroup, reset, and put yourself out there again. And also, you have to learn humility because it's a hard thing to ask people to do things that you never usually are used to doing because you've always done it yourself. When you're self-made, it's tough. It's tough now to have to say, hey, people, I need some help. You feel embarrassed. You feel like you failed. I didn't fail. I just, I lived, I survived. I had to, hey, listen, okay, let me take it back. I want to give Andy a lot of credit here. This is a heartfelt moment, everyone. Okay. Andy, when he saw me coming back, he said to me, Lenny, I don't have the passion you do anymore. He didn't say it like that, but his words were something that way. He says, I've kind of moved on from this. And I remember him asking me, do you still have the passion? I said, yes. And I want it really bad. And he said to me, you're going to make it. And I said, but can you give me a chance? I said, can you invite me? I would love to come to BB vocal booth. And he invited me back. And I'll never forget and thank him for opening that door again for me. He opened it. We went to dinner in New York when he came with Mrs. Ward. We had a fantastic time. I had my wife. We sat and talked. We reminisced. We laughed. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. And he said, if I can do it, I'll help you out. And he did it. And it meant the world to me. And I went there and I played and I had a great time. And it was one of the first things to getting my soulful house community to understand that I was there. And he helped me out. So I'm used to that, not taking a handout or a donation, but we do that for each other, for all of us. We all extend the olive branches when necessary, if you know what I mean. So hats to you. I don't know if you ever heard this from me, Andy, but it's on your show. I better tell you the real deal. I want to tell you
beautiful
thank you.
Hear. Beautiful to hear. Thank you.
But it meant the world to me. That you would say, yeah, I'll bring you, Lenny. Don't worry, man, I got you. And you really came through because you know how everyone is in our world. They talk, they do a lot of lip service, and then they don't deliver. Not many stand behind what they say. So I must give you props to that. So for us now, we're going forward. I'm doing this whole thing. I start the crowdfunding. I raised a pretty decent amount of money. Help me get a camera and things like that. So the first premise was I was going to sit down and film it myself. Oh boy, did I learn a lot. I learned so much. Oh my God. Was I completely wrong? I learned that in order for these big companies like your Amazons, your Netflix, your Stars, your BBC, you got to have a real production company that's filming this, that basically you have to pitch to production. So that's where I'm at right now. We wrote a full pitch sheet and script of this show to go, which we're working on now for a production deal. This is how far it has come from the scribbly look of, a crappy looking screen to this now to here we are working on full script, sitting down. So now I'm actually the movie business.
So will you go back and re-interview some of the guests?
Depends
or will
on
you
how the
use some of
production
the
company
footage?
wants. Well, it all depends. First of all, the footage of what I have, I won't use for that. We would have to redo. We'd have to redo things. Probably have to be drama parts put in, and like when they show the reenactments of things that went on, all that good stuff we will have in there. It's a matter
It's
of
got to
just.
be authentic, though. I mean, I don't need to tell you. It has
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
going to do my
authentic.
best. I'm going to do my best to keep it that way. But again, when someone buys into your dream, there's going to be a war involved. You're going to be fighting with them at some level because they're in a position to bring the dream to the reality. Your dream can stay a dream if you keep it at your chest, but if you're going to allow them to be involved, their say is just as important as your say. So you have to find where that balance is in the say no, say yay way,
I hear that.
A lot of stuff to deal with, brothers and sisters, prophets that are doing their own shows. This is, I get a phone call today. The producer of the Paradise Garage movie, the Larry Levan story, calls me today and says he wants to have a discussion with me about him doing a podcast, and he'd like me to be involved and on the podcast interviewing people. It's crazy. It's like you wind up getting known for doing certain other things, and now all of a sudden they're asking you to do this. And then it was like the question came, so where are you podcasting this? Are we self-podcasting it, or is it going to be on a platform, iHeartRadio, Amazon? Is this to fund the movie that you want to get out, or is it just for some of the outside parts of the story of the house music scene in New York? And I was asking, is it about Larry Levan? And so he sent me all this stuff to the script and everything. And he was telling me his woes of trying to get a production company to sign his movie. It's not an easy thing. These are high reach items now when you're getting into.
Well, I mean, I know it's a completely different league, but with the whole Kanye documentary that's just come out and the money that was made off of the back of that, they say, forget about it.
Forget about it. Right. But you got to realize it's Kanye West. We're not talking about, Kanye West is a pop icon. So his following alone will be enough to fund it to that level without any extra residuals. You know what I'm saying? Like who I'm not a Kanye West fan, I would watch it just to learn more and see how they shot his biography. I've done that with the story on the band Chicago. Well, I'm a big fan of Chicago, or some of these other Netflix ones, Clive Davis, just to see how it's all shot and how it's all put together. It helps give you a platform to say, okay, this is doable. This is reachable. I said, I could see myself behind that desk being filmed. Sure, as a moderator. Sure, I can. Because before I would be like, no way. Oh, God, no, I'm not going to be in that. Oh, hell no. But week to week, strength to strength, one better than the other, you start to feel more comfortable. You start to look back at what you did, say, well, look, I do this better. I could do that better. All par for course, all par for learning, all par for excellence. How far do you want to take this? How far do you want to invest your life into this?
That's an important question.
You know, I mean, where's the stop? Where's the go? How do you balance your life? How do you keep family life going with all this? I mean, everyone looks at Louis Vega. God bless him. The man is nonstop working.
Unbelievable.
It's like, does he ever stop? People asking me, yeah, you know what he does? He gets moments where he stops, but the more he works, the more he's out there, the more he's pushing, the more and it's like a cycle. The more you do, the more you get. The more you get, the more you do. The more you have to do. Everything else has to be done. And, you know, he has to entertain. He's got to make records. He's got to be out there. I use him as an example because he's always pushing the envelope. I give him credit every time I see him. I say, damn, boy, you're going and going. I go, where's this energy? Where are you sleeping in between? You know, because you know he's traveling here, you know he's doing that, and you say, man, woof. And I thought I was busy. I look at him and I go, it looks like I'm sleeping next to it. And he ain't getting any younger, and he's pushing that envelope, going.
He's taking it nice and steady. But that's Louis Vega, and you're Lenny Fontana, and you are continuing to go from strength to strength, and it really is incredible to see. You mentioned earlier, did you actually, because I've not heard you actually make an official announcement about the regularity of the show changing. Is that official? Have you made an announcement?
I think it was necessary. I needed to give time to some other things. I need to get back to producing records. I needed to also, I wanted people to soak the episodes in more. I felt like it was too much, too fast every week.
So you have made an official announcement that the show's
I didn't make an announcement. I just changed the format to see if anybody would notice.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's only been 1 week, hasn't it? That you went?
A couple of weeks. The last few, since January, I took a little slower. I started traveling. I went to Tenerife, and then I just said I'm going to do it every other week. Mm-hmm. I'm going to spread it out. Of course, now if I get a big guest and they can only do a Sunday, I'm going to take that on. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to not fit people in. I'm just not going to go, okay, Tuesday night, I'm going to push next Wednesday. I just said, no. And I also realized people were going back to some sort of normality. I wanted people to look forward to it than it being there every week. It was too much. 52 weeks. It's not like I'm doing 16 weeks of episodes like a real season of shows. Was doing 52 weeks straight every week, and sometimes 2 shows. I was like, no.
Yeah, but I'd be messaging you on a Thursday on WhatsApp like, where's the show, man? I got nothing to listen to in the gym. Hurry up. I got to wait till Friday for Wednesday's show. Come on, man.
That's the life of a DJ. I'm back to playing records again.
So tell us then.
And that's the thing. People wanted me back behind what I do best too. Is like, hey, we want you to come back and play for us again. We want you back. And I was like,
well, okay. I was just about to say, do tell about your upcoming UK dates that you have. Excited to be on the road.
www.lennyfontana.com has all my dates scheduled. There's a lot of dates coming in. Thank God everyone's calling me. Thank God everyone's calling again.
Let me ask you a question before I forget. You and Nikki were kind of joking. There was like an in-joke about John Morales that never came out. What was it?
Well, we were all Liverpool Disco Festival. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get John upset at me. John Morales said something to Nikki, and Nikki off camera asked me, Nikki said to me, you remember Disco Festival? I said, yeah. He said, what did John Morales mean by him saying this to me? He's like, did he really play it those years when I was playing? I said, I think he's around 73, 74 he started. I said, but to be honest, Nikki, I says, I can't vouch for that because I wasn't there. I was not there, so I can't tell you when exactly he started playing. But I do know he started playing in the Bronx because Nikki felt like, there's a little ego thing between everybody. what year did you start? Like
Like a
which
feather
makes
in the
you a
cap.
bureaucracy. Yeah, it's a bureaucracy thing. Um, let's face it. When you talk about pre-disco and DJs that really made statements, you talk about two, three, Mancuso and Ciano. All the time come up in the American side. I'm not talking about Froggy in the UK side, but and he was like, he's like, what does he mean by that? When we, like John was saying, when we are in, we come from that same era. He's like, so I kind of laughed. That's when I said, I'm saying to myself, don't go there because I can't really answer this on camera. So I said,
So
no, we're gonna
I
leave.
got immediately something was. I was like,
Oh,
what's
because
that? What have I missed?
Nikki was not happy about. He's like, what does he mean? And like, oh,
Okay, so upcoming guests, highlights.
I'm just winging it, to be honest. I'm picking people. I feel, I for example, I went back to the Chosen Few
Mm-hmm.
from Chicago. I just reached out to Mike Dunn today. I said, Mike, you need to come on. I mentioned Man Parrish will be on. Uh, I wanted to have Eddie Amador, but he got sick with COVID in January, so I got to get back to him. Jason's Fats from Fats and Smalls, he's gonna come on, and this list goes on and on. I mean, I got some other people that we're gonna list out. And again, I'm looking at the stories that I know are impactful for people that they really are going to enjoy tuning into. They're kind of their heroes in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for those hero stories from people, the ones that they, I always dance to his records. Wow, things like that. That's what I look for in someone.
Fantastic.
Historical content, a hero,
Hero
where's he?
worship.
Yeah, where's he or she on the hero side?
Mm-hmm.
I like having the women on too. I love having the women on. I love their perspective. Women power, it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
You interviewed some of them were incredible. When you interviewed Crystal Waters, it's insane.
how amazing was that? How awesome. She opened up on it and she said that I don't do these kind of interviews. You know why? Because the people don't know me.
And it was great.
You
But
know
it
me,
was
and I
good to
feel
have it after Teddy as well, because there was
ah,
the whole connectivity was brilliant. It was really good.
I didn't plan it like that. It just happened that way.
It was great.
It just happened that way. Don't ask. I sometimes say this must be a divine intervention because I'm not physically going, Andy, I'm going to have you and I'm going to have such as Russell Sweat. I didn't plan like that. I looked at it and went, holy smoke, how amazing is this? I got baseball and then I got the most iconic woman in house music to tell her story on this show. And
then
give us
and
the
then
inside dirt.
You should have rang up Tyree Cooper while she was on.
Oh, was he angry? That's a story now.
That's
How
beautiful.
angry was Tyree's writing on the chat as I'm doing the interview with Teddy about
It's
how
gold.
dare they?
It's gold,
How,
man.
how dare he uses that? He don't give me no credit. And I'm like, I'm sweating quietly. I'm like looking at the the chat saying, I can't say this to Teddy right now. And here's the reason why, everybody. Teddy's a personal friend of mine. I don't want to upset him. I don't want to upset him right now. I don't want to upset Tyree. I don't want to upset you, Andy. Johnny D says, Lenny, you're like Switzerland.
Sitting on the fence.
Yeah, you play this nice guy with everybody. You put Johnny D in that position, he'll be like, he'll be cursing at everybody. It's like, I don't do that. I don't do that.
So many.
I try to stay even keel. I have my own opinions. They are opinions that come from myself, but doesn't mean that I'm going to always be, first and foremost, so quick to tell people, how I feel. It's not part of the show. It's more informative. I'm not here to make my own judgments. I leave that for another time. You
Well,
know?
my friend, it is a truly inspirational show. It's to hear your beautiful words earlier, quite touching. And I've said it on many occasions when I talk to people. I've learnt a lot from listening to you. I've taken a lot on board. I will continue to learn a lot from you, and I'll
Oh.
continue to tell you about yourself from time to time as well.
That I know you won't have to stop. I get the message regardless. I know.
So
I
it's
read
been,
it and go, oh,
we could sit
yeah.
here. I say this every week, and I try and force myself to stop saying it. The
Anybody
fact
have
that,
questions that they need us answering? Do we need to ask anybody? Does anybody
yeah,
answers this?
we can ask. As you know, there's a bit of a delay, so people have been commenting. So thank you, Jason, Errol, Mark, Fuzzy. They've been saying it's been fantastic. A way back, I did see a question. I didn't want to stop when someone said, if you could interview anybody, alive or dead, who would you love to interview, or who do you wish you could have interviewed?
Oh God. Michael Jackson.
Wow. Okay.
I think he, as much as that whole thing came about with him, I would have stayed off that whole thing with what's his name from that reporter brought out. I really would have
Joe, was it
spoken.
Jody? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I would have spoke about just about all the musical side because
Hmm.
I just think he's unreal, incredible. If I can get living would be Quincy Jones.
Yeah,
I
we just show the photograph. Oh no, that was George Benson. You showed the photograph
Oh,
of the other day.
Yeah, George Benson. I know. We had dinner together. We were supposed to work on a record together. That's different. I mean, I'm gonna ask George Benson when I go to Real TV.
Hmm.
To if he'll come on because I wanna have him. But
Quincy
you said
Jones.
dead. I would say Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson, um,
Controversial, I know, but do you wish you could have had an opportunity to talk to Eric?
Pupper. I'm not Eric. I mean Eric Murillo.
Hmm.
Oh, see,
Because
this is
he
where I
had
have.
stories. He had
This is a gray
stories.
area for me.
Okay,
I
we'll leave it
thought
there.
about that and I was like, which fears me to have the conversation with Roger Sanchez as well, because I've been around all that stuff as a touring DJ and I don't know if I want to bring that. I like to get Roger on at the right opportunity, but I mean, this was a lot. This was a pretty dark moment with all that going on. To have those, you know what I'm saying? To bring, look, for ratings, Eric Murillo bring a lot of ratings. People would have tuned in. Look, the most controversial one I had, and I helped clean up his act, was no better than the House Gangster Sneak. Sneak said it on different interviews. After doing my show, people really understood what all that was all about. I got hate mail like you have no idea from England. How dare you bring him on? Da, 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 da. They all tuned in.
Yeah, or from Manchester, I'm sure.
Yeah, they tuned in. What's he going to say next?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. He cried on our show. That was Golden Globe shit, dude. I was like, we're there. He's breaking down. He ain't as hard as you all think. He's just too gosh damn honest for his own good. But that's his decision. Like he said, I want to let people know. I said, Sneak, you got to come. He said, bro, we're going to do it. I'm not going to hold back. I said, don't hold back. I want you to tell everything. We need to tell the story. And it was during the time when he slagged off Track Source and all digital shit. And he was telling everybody, F you. And we got him. And everybody tuned in. And they were just like, the hate mail turned into love mail after. People couldn't tell me thank you enough. We have now recertified our love for Sneak. He's a great guy. We just didn't understand him. I said, that's right. You don't understand any of us. You see us behind a box. You hear our music. You love us for the minute, but then you're catching snips of us at bad moments. You're not catching us. See, bad news travels fast. Good news goes nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's something, right?
Yeah.
It's true. So when he made the statement in Manchester, fuck yous all and all that stuff, that wasn't the reason why he was telling Manchester that. There was a reason, because he was upset with the people that got involved with the clubs that he was involved in. And of course, you can hear my story. Sneak explain it better. But that's the gist of it. It wasn't to the Manchester people. He was angry. He's like, yo, these people are not looking out for me. They're jerking me around. And he got real sensitive. And he just said, fuck yous all. And that's just how he is.
Mm.
But we brought that emotion to the screen, and I had people writing in, and I was watching everything. He's explaining it step by step, and it became one of the most iconic interviews, I'm proud to say, that we helped turn someone's situation around from a negative to a wonderful positive.
Indeed.
That's what this show does. Danny Tenaglia, 3 hours talking. 3 hours talking to me about everything. What does he say each time? I reflect when I'm being interviewed. I say, that's exactly right.
Would you ever get Junior Vasquez?
Would he show up?
That'd be a big scoop.
I'm trying to. We're talking about it. I've been negotiating with his manager about it. He's not easy to get this. I wanted to actually tell the story of Sound Factory with Christina Visca and him together. So, because she is part of his legacy. She owns Sound Factory in New York, and I work with her party, Birdcage. And she's a dear friend. And we wanted to, and I said to her, I would like to get you and him together. She says, you know how he is. It's not easy. He's got the if Madonna calls mentality, it's like he's in a different place. And I go, I know, but I will. Even Terry asked me, Terry for Faith, he says, can we get you to do the article? And I said, yeah, I'd like to do the article and then record him as well. So you can take the article. I'll take the video. We're still in negotiation. It's kind of like on a pause. I'm looking to hopefully I can get that done. Yes, Junior Vasquez is a living icon. Yeah. 100%.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm not going to sit here questioning who you are going to go, because 2 hours we've been talking, and we could easily continue, but I don't think it's fair to keep people hanging on our words. And it's Tuesday afternoon. You got stuff to do, right? You got things that you need.
5 o'clock dinner time soon. I'm getting hungry.
There you go. Well, it's way past my bedtime.
Oh, don't forget, you got to mention something very important. We had a conversation earlier today.
Well, I didn't know whether I was allowed to or not.
Why? Why would you not?
Well, you're a very hard man to negotiate with, Lenny. We didn't actually confirm anything, did we? Or clearly we did. I'll let you tell everybody.
I got a funny phone call today. He says to me, came at 1 o'clock in the morning, New York time. Andy sends me a message, please call me before we have our afternoon chat, fireside chat. I said, sure. He says, listen, I want to put this out there. Would you come and be part of Vocal Booth this year? So it was like someone said to me, your wife's pregnant. I paused. And I said, yeah. He says, really? I said, yeah. I said, but you know what? Everybody knows Andy's humor. Andy put up the picture of the guy with the van and the speaker running around his town yelling out, stay in your house. So I said to Andy, if you're going to bring me, you have to get the guy with the van and the speaker to run around. Lenny Fontana is coming to Vocal Booth this year. He's coming to Vocal Booth to play for you and to do a special True House Stories. He's coming to True House Stories, bringing True House Stories to the Vocal Booth people. So please come and have a good time. That's what I'm hoping he does all week long.
I'm going to
all
make
week long with the van.
I'm going to make it happen. So what we're going to do, that,
That's the big announcement. So I'm coming to do a special. He's been dreaming this up. He's got Maurice Joshua, Eric Cuppa, myself, and him, and we're gonna have a sit down in a tent, in a warm tent, no fire. And you guys are gonna ask us questions, and we're gonna tell you a little bit about our lives. And a special True House Stories goes on location at VB in
Fantastic.
Spain.
well,
September.
I was actually going to wait a few weeks before announcing all of that.
Oh, you can announce it, but
Well,
nobody's
I'll
gonna
do
pay
it now. So, Lenny Fontana hosting, Maurice Joshua, Eric Cuppa, Victor Simonelli, all in Spain for the VB 2022. You heard it here first.
Yes. People are probably going, holy shit.
I
Listen
guess
to
I better
this.
put the artwork out tomorrow now.
I think so. And you know what? I want ticket sales to go through the roof. I want him to have an injunction from Spain put on him that he's got too many people at this place. He needs a bigger place. Get on it.
There you go.
Start selling. Let's go, everyone. Come on now.
Beautiful.
You all need a holiday. What better than to have us American blokes bring some entertainment from
Indeed.
America?
Well, Lenny, my friend, I cannot thank you enough for giving me more of your time. And people can find you on YouTube. I'm telling everybody everything they already know. We're all fans of yours, so they know where to find you. True House Stories on YouTube.
Find me anywhere.
There
Near
you
me,
go.
podcast me, whatever you want, but just stay with me. Don't leave me yet, people. We still got more stories to tell. We're not done yet. We're getting started. We're getting warmed up.
Fantastic. Lenny, I love you more than you'll ever know, my friend. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Take care. Wow. Mr. Lenny Fontana goes, thank you, brother. And there you go. That was a little scoop for you. I wasn't expecting that, but the cat's out of the bag. Thank you to Lenny. Thank you to Mark for a beautiful conversation. I've been sitting, listening all evening long to those guys. The whole purpose of the conversation was to talk about our aims, our goals, why we do this, and what we hope to achieve. And it's always a pleasure to have you guys with us. I click a button and I throw forward to next Tuesday. It's just going to be me sat here in this chair. I'm taking myself out of the comfort zone. It's going to be me and you. And we're going to talk about the Southport Weekender, our highlights and how we survived. So I'm just going to be sat here. It may be a 30-minute conversation. It may be an hour and 30 minutes. We'll talk about everything that we get up to, talk about some of the great sets that we have seen, and we'll try and remember some of the hazy parts. So let me go back to say shouts out to Schoolie. Nice. I hope you didn't burn the dinner, mate. I hope it tasted good. Fuzzy, Mr. John Rogers, Carol, Tiger as well, Jason Thornton, Chris Harris was locked on as well in New York, as was Emily. People coming and going, and of course everybody picking up the recording. Now you may have seen a little graphic going across the screen throughout the course of the chat, and it says if you type in !notify, that should let you know, it should give you a notification on your Facebook feed every time we go live. So maybe if you could just try that for me in the comments, just type it, no space or anything, !notify, and then that, nothing any more intrusive as just letting you know when we go live, because it is difficult to get people to see that. And I know that a lot of people do come back and check out the recordings and prefer to listen to the podcast as well. So thank you. And on the screen, we've got the new graphics as well, with the Facebook and the YouTube links, as well as you can see all of the likes from Jason Thornton, Nick Collins, Emma Wilkinson, as well as Pugwash and Lenny as well was sharing it. Those have been popping up throughout the course of the evening. So thank you guys. Let me see if what you'll see is when you type in #notify, you'll get a little flag by the side of your name. Thank you, Nick, for trying that. So now you'll get a notification every time we go live. All of my Access crew, people here who support me on a weekly basis. You saw Lenny talking in the conversation about sometimes having to go cap in hand, take yourself out of your comfort zone. Well, that's one of the things that I learned, and I talk about it every week, and I thank people every week, all of the crew who subscribe to myself, and they have the opportunity as well to win a couple of £100 almost every month. If you want to find out more about that, just go to djandyward.net/access. For just £10 a month, you can get your logo on the screen, you can be a part of the community, and you can also get into that free raffle at the end of every month. That's about it for me. Over 2 hours I've been talking. Thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciated. The next time most of you see me, I won't be looking anywhere near as awful, for a bit anyway. I'll probably be crawling in a gutter come Sunday. Thank you all for your time. I love you. Be good to yourselves now. Take care.